Today we are going to talk about validation. Why and how to validate your products. So, when you have a good product idea and you're about to spend a whole bunch of money on inventory and you're about to source that product from the supplier, um, how how do you know that someone is going to buy that product? How can you find out if it's a good product to move forward with? This is something so many people struggle with, including me. It's like there's just so much to do in terms of validating your product. So we're going to talk about that today. I'm going to give you some ways that you can get started with this, and hopefully this helps you when you're considering your next product. So we're going to talk about why do we validate, and we're going to talk about how to validate our products, when to validate them, and how to avoid errors along the way. It's really important to minimize risk and confirm customer demand. That's one of the reasons why we validate. We're going to get into that. And then as far as how to validate, it's really important that that we don't just use search volume numbers or numbers from tools like Jungle Scout or ZonGuru. We want to make sure that we're not just using those numbers. That's a good data point to use, but we want to make sure we're not solely valid, just relying on those numbers, because often they can be very inflated. So it's just a good data point. And then there's some other things that we should be doing to make sure we're validating. So we're going to discuss two simple methods on how to do that. And then when do you validate? There's so many times to validate throughout the process. We'll talk about that. And then finally, data errors. Where do you think that data errors might come in during this process? The biggest thing is really who and what you're getting your data from. So we could have some common mistakes there if we're getting our data, from our mom. Your mom loves you. She's going to tell you that she loves your product idea and you should move forward with it. But maybe mom's not the best one to be asking. So we're going to talk about that. So let's get into it. All right. We talked about this during our ideation class. Of which types between commodities, white label, private label, and unique have the most profit potential. And private label and unique products have the most profit potential because you get to have control over the price and they're highly scalable. You can sell them in multiple channels. So they have the most profit potential. So really, we are only competing with private label and unique products on the demand and the unique selling point, versus on white label and commodity products, we're really competing on just trying to make our brand look better than another brand with basically the exact same product, or how many reviews and what price we can sell our product at. So anyway, but we also have some huge cons when it comes to private label and unique products. And those are that really our mistakes can be super costly. Because if we're going in with a new product and we're differentiating it, right? And we pick a differentiation, or maybe we're developing a product from scratch, if we're doing that and we make the wrong differentiation and nobody buys it, that could cost us everything. That's a big investment to make, versus a white label product where we know, that it's, this phone case is going to sell. We can make it sell even if we have to drop our price, and we can make our brand look better. So no matter what, on the white label and commodity products, even though they have a shorter lifespan, we can kind of validate the demand a little bit better. So anyway, we've got high risks but high reward when it comes to private label and unique products. And we've had a couple of people talking in the chat here. Okay. All right. So I'm just making sure there was no questions. All right, let's move on. So why I would like you guys to validate. I want you to have products that make it past the Shark Tank, right? I don't know if you guys know this. I tried out for Shark Tank season 18. I was not picked to air on the show, but when you try out for Shark Tank, you actually have to sign something that says that if you are picked, you automatically give up equity in your company, whether or not you get a deal from the sharks. So I thought that that was really, really interesting. But what are the reasons that the sharks say no to the products that come into the Shark Tank? What are the reasons? I've got 3 reasons for failure in the tank. The number 1 reason is, and not necessarily more number 1 than these others, but the first reason that I mentioned is it unique? So for example, this product, I love to talk about this product because it's just so easy. It was one of these, it was iBlock. It was one of these camera covers for the laptop. And the shark came back and said, I just used a piece of tape to cover my laptop webcam cover. And so they didn't see that this was a unique product. Even though it was unique, there was a reasonable alternative. A solution already exists. It was easily copied and it wasn't really patentable, right? Now, I mean, I guess you could patent it, but if somebody's just going to use a piece of tape, that's an expensive process, right? So being unique is important. You know, we want to, that's kind of a part of validating it. We want to make sure that our product is unique enough to, you know, to solve a problem or meet an unmet demand. And then the second one is, do you have sales? So sales is another form of validation of our product, right? How many products that go into the Shark Tank have you seen that have just lost a deal because they didn't have any sales? No sales proof, no validation that people will actually buy it, or there isn't enough demand. So, you know, you've got the iBlock situation where there was a lot of demand, but a really easy solution. And then you've got this Qubits toy. It was like a little learning toy. And his plan was to approach toy companies. And he didn't have, you know, his sales were super low. And this was kind of an easy product to make. You know, it was just another version of a fidget spinner. So again, no validation there, no go in the Shark Tank. And then finally, we have the ladies who made this soup. I forget what their, it was like super or something, but the ladies on the right, their business is not scalable. So, you know, they were making all this soup, their margins were really, really low. And the shark said, I can't sell this everywhere. I can't get it into, I mean, it's going to be a nightmare, you know? So their profit also, it was only 5%. It was so low. So even though their sales are really good, the profit was so low. The shark said, I can't get my money back doing that. So these are the things these are the questions you want to ask yourself when you're considering a product. You want to say, is it unique? And we covered that during our product ideation class. You know, do you have sales or can you get sales? And then is the business going to be scalable? We want a product that would make it past the Shark Tank. So why should you validate? Just because you love a product doesn't mean people will buy it. You know, if I love my green coffee mug here, it's not unique. You know, it's going to be hard to sell. I have a lot of competition. You know, it doesn't mean people will buy it. If I decide to add a light to this coffee mug because I really like to, you know, drink coffee at night and read, and I think having a light built in my coffee mug would be great, will other people buy that? I need to know. You need to know, right? When you're considering a product. So we've got this quote from Steve Martin. I love money. I love everything about it. I bought some pretty good stuff, got me a $300 pair of stocks, got a fur sink, an electric dog polisher, a gasoline-powered turtleneck sweater, and of course, I bought some dumb stuff too. So, you know, if our branding is good enough, we might be able to convince a few people to buy our products, but we really do want to make sure that someone is going to buy our electric dog polisher. We want to confirm customer demand to avoid losing our investment, right? Can I get an amen? Oh man. So, you know, we can't use tools like Jungle Scout and Helium 10 because, I mean, we can, and I want you guys to use those tools, right? Matt says, amen. Thank you, Matt. All right. You know, we want to make sure that we use the tools that are at our disposal, right? Like, why wouldn't you, if you already have access to Helium 10 and you're considering a fur-lined sink, you're like, yes, I'm going to sell this fur-lined sink. Why wouldn't you go and see if there were other similar products on the market and how well those products are selling? That is a reasonable way to validate, but we don't want it to be our only way to validate, because if we're doing a truly unique product, there isn't really historical sales data on our fur-lined sink if no one else has done a fur-lined sink before, right? So we're taking a chance and looking at other sinks and going, well, this regular sink, it's selling a lot, so I think, you know, I could get some of that I could get some of that off, steal some of the competition's sales by selling my fur-lined sink. We don't want to just assume that, right? So we know why we should validate. All right, how can we validate customer demand? There's two methods we're going to give you in this training. So this method is my absolute favorite. It's the one that we always start with in the course because it gets people out there. It gets them thinking about how to talk to people about products. And it's really, really powerful. It's so powerful because the information that you get back is so awesome. So during my course, I'm going to give you some products to go out and validate, right? And we have always done this even in our previous courses. And we give really bad products that you are kind of embarrassed to talk about. Number one, because you have no emotional attachment to these products. And number two, because you might get some information that surprises you. So the thing you want to do is you want to create a visual mock-up or even a prototype, but really just a visual mock-up. So let's say I want to do the coffee mug with the light in it. It's really not that hard for me to take a picture of this coffee mug and for me to take a picture of a light, and then for me to submit those to someone on Fiverr and say, hey, create me a mock-up of a coffee mug with a built-in light and a recharging port over here. You know, create me this mock-up, create me a picture that looks just like that, right? And so what you're going to do is you're going to take that picture you can keep it on your phone, you can print it out, however you would like to do. But I'm going to take my picture and I'm going to go to the out in the public. Right now, you cannot go out in the public. You must use social media because we are under coronavirus lockdown. But what I want you to do is take that mock-up and I want you to ask people. Now you can go in, if I'm doing this coffee, I could go in a coffee lovers group on Facebook or on Reddit in a subreddit, wherever people are hanging out online and talking about coffee. I could go to a coffee lovers blog. I could, you know, there's so many things that I could do. And I just take this picture and you're going to ask two very important questions. The first question is, what do you think about this? You're not going to introduce yourself and be like, oh my gosh, you know, I love coffee and I love reading when I'm doing my coffee. And so I'm excited to bring this product to market. Can you tell me what you think of it? No, you're going to go to people that might be drinking coffee. Maybe you're going to your local coffee shop, and you just say, you don't introduce it all. You don't have to do all that. You're just going to show them the picture, and you're going to say, hey, excuse me, can I ask you a quick question? What do you think about this? Same thing. Post that picture in the group. What do you think about this? You're going to get some interesting feedback. You're going to get feedback like, oh, wow, that's cool. Or, oh, I've seen something like that before. Oh, really? Where have you seen it? Right? That's really good information for you. Or, oh, where can I buy that? You know, great. That's really great feedback. Somebody wants it. Someone else wants it, you know? So what is that? Maybe they wouldn't understand what it is. And then, you know, it requires more customer education. And then the second thing you're going to do is you're going to ask, how much would they pay for it? So you get their feedback, and then you say, oh, okay, cool. How much would you pay for it? And this is the thing. When we did this with our course participants, they got back all kinds of feedback. Some people said, well, actually, I wouldn't buy it, but I wouldn't buy it for myself, but I would buy it as a gift for my sister who loves, you know, coffee and reading, whatever. So we learned, oh, wow, okay, people see it as a gift, or people see it as a gag gift, or some people said, you know, they would buy it for $5. Well, then you knew that the perceived value of that product is just not very high, you know? So I had this idea for slime containers. I was going to make this like slime kit, and my daughters play with slime, you know, and so I searched on Amazon. They were using all my containers to store their slime, and I searched on Amazon, and I looked I looked for slime collection, and I found that it was one of the top suggested search terms, and I click on it, and I can't find anything to buy for my daughters to store their slime collection. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have now validated demand because it's a top search term and nobody's selling this. Awesome. So right there, I mean, I did my validation, right? I go to Canton Fair, I source this incredible, like stackable containers with, you know, the ability to add lighting to make the slime glow and all this stuff, right? And so once I came back from Canton Fair with these samples, I had my daughter's friends over and their parents over to my house. And I asked them their opinion. And to my surprise, the kids didn't really care about the containers. They were just excited to play with the slime. And I thought they would get excited about being able to stack them up and store them, but maybe it's just my fascination with organization. I don't know. But anyway, when I asked the moms how much they would pay, they said, maybe $1 or $2, because that's what they're paying in the supermarket to buy a disposable container. So for me, it wasn't profitable enough to move forward. So I had done all this. I went all the way to Canton Fair, sourced some samples. Now imagine if I would have moved forward with that product. What might have happened? People said, no, I'm not going to buy it. It's too expensive, right? So you want to record and analyze their responses. The pros of this, it can be very informative. One of the products that I was doing I always do the exercises with my students, and one of the products that I was doing, the responses that I got actually gave me a really great product idea off of that product that I thought was terrible. So, you know, it can be really informative. It can really help you make design decisions for your products. The cons is that you need a lot of opinions. Like for me, maybe if I had held the slime party, right? If I had held that to a larger group or a different group of people, I would have gotten much different answers. So I could have moved on and done a massive survey. PickFu is another really great tool that you can use to show two things and say, hey, which one do you prefer? There's all kinds of ways to do this. But the risks is this confirmation bias, right? So if the moms at the party had said, oh yeah, I would pay $20 for a cool slime container for my kid. Well, what if I launch it and I didn't get enough information, and then, it doesn't sell or it's not profitable? So it's definitely a really great way to validate your products, but just keep those things in mind. Are we following? All right, so this is the second way to validate customer demand. And this is what we do in the Sourcing Small Masterclass. So Andy and I have this Sourcing Small Masterclass where we basically teach you how to buy a small amount of products from AliExpress or wholesaler.alibaba, like all these different websites. We teach you how to buy small amounts of a product, and we teach you how to choose that product, and then we teach you how to basically white label it, send it into Amazon, and see if it takes off. This is a way of small batch testing. A lot of people do this with little test products, either to learn the process of selling online or to see if something would take off. So I have an example of something that I tested that didn't take off. I sourced, my daughters, they use an onion slicer they learned to use big chef's knives with this onion slicer, right? So they put the onion slicer into the piece of fruit or meat or whatever, and it has all these prongs on it. And they would be able to slice through and have a guide, a slicing guide. And I felt a lot more comfortable having them slice fruits and vegetables when they had this firm hold on it and they could get the knife away from their other hand. That was just great for me, right? I researched it online and saw that kids cooking was a huge, big niche. And I was like, oh man, nobody's selling this cool knife slicing guide for kids. And so I sourced 100 of them from Alibaba, and we show you how to do this in the Sourcing Small Masterclass, how to source small quantities of stuff. I didn't pay anything for shipping. I think I got them for $1 a piece. So I think I spent $100, a little over $100 on it. I created the listing, put them up on Amazon, and I got the reviews. I did everything I was supposed to do, and they just did not sell. It was showing up in kids cooking. It was doing everything it was supposed to do, but they just did not sell. But I spent $100, $100 to see if these would sell. Is that a lot less than I would have spent had I developed this product and designed it and put it on the market? Yes. And now, is the product that I put out there as a test product, is that the exact product that I would eventually develop and private label? No, because I'm going to take the feedback from the customer, I'm going to further develop it, and then I'm going to launch something. So you can do this from anywhere. It's not accurate always, because you aren't really sure that the sample product that I used, for example, as this kid slicing guide, is the exact product that would get people to change their mind about it. So, and then the risk, you might give away your idea, right? If that slicing product took off and suddenly, it's selling really well and I'm trying to source more of it and, oh my gosh, don't have time for development, I might give away my idea. But I just have to tell you, you guys, when I invented my product, I was terrified that someone would steal my idea. And now I know, after working with so many inventors and entrepreneurs, I know that 99.9% of people have no idea how to develop a product and bring it to market. So stealing your idea, unless you're going to put it out there in a group of people that know something about that, is just not necessarily something that you have to worry about. And you can always do a provisional patent if you are moving forward with something. At least get your patent pending status to be like the first to file. But either way, you can do that for as low as $75 on the USPTO website. So it's okay, but the risks are far greater in not moving forward with an idea that could make you millions of dollars, right? So So that's it. So those are our two methods of validating customer demand. All right, moving on. I'm just checking the chat here. Okay, so when should we validate? We have to validate before all of our critical decision points. We need to make sure that every time that, remember that slime thing, right? If I would have come back and not validated again after, I validated that people were searching for the idea and that it was, like it was something that my family definitely needed and it was something that wasn't available on the market. But if I hadn't come back with those samples and asked people about it, I might have moved forward with a first order of $10,000 or more and gone to market with a product that ultimately wasn't going to be profitable for me. So you've got to validate it every step along the way. So first, when you find your idea, you need to, if you find your idea, your concept, your differentiation, all right, I'm going to put a light in this coffee mug. Start there, right? Validate your idea there. Then you find your supplier and you get your rough price. Well, then you need to validate your price. What retail price will people pay for your products? You need to go back, and that's what I did. I found my supplier. I got the picture idea. And why do you have to do this twice? I might validate the price when I'm validating the idea, so the coffee mug with the light in it. I can ask then how much people would pay for it. But then after I find the supplier, this coffee mug with the light in it may look a little bit different. It might be made out of a different material. We would get our specs, all of that. Well, then I've got to validate it again. I have to make sure that the new version of this coffee mug with very cold coffee in it now is a good price that is going to be profitable for me, because now I know how much it's going to cost me to source it, right? Then I've got to validate my packaging. So down here at the bottom, I've got to validate my packaging. Once you put a package on it, and for me, I like to sell beyond Amazon and retail stores. So my packaging, I really need to know that it's communicating to the customer. And how powerful is a package in a main photo on Amazon, right? Like, how great is it that we get that real estate to really show off the product? So again, PickFu is a great way to validate packaging, because we can put two versions. I've had a couple of clients that I've done validation of packaging with them, even validation of their product design, the print that they put on their product, things like that. And in many cases, we've found that the decision that they were going with was actually not the best decision for them. So you can always put yours up against your competitors and do a Google survey or a PickFu survey, something like that. And then finally, you want to place your order with confidence, because you know that you have validated. Now, there's a whole bunch of ways to validate. I've just shown you 2 ways here. There's a whole bunch of ways to validate, and I show all of those in the course. We really spend a lot of time on validation, understanding the different ways to validate, because not every product is going to be the same, right? You're going to want to have many tools in your toolbox. So how do we avoid errors? The data you collect from validation is only as good as your testing methods. You have to collect good data in order to make good decisions. Can we agree on that? Yes. Okay. So in the method 1, how do we avoid errors? Number 1, when we're asking people about our product, what they think about it, how much they'll pay for it, you need to ask strangers. We don't want to ask our mom. Remember, mom loves you and she's going to tell you that your product is great. You don't want to ask your sisters, you really want to get a good, accurate response. You could go to the store. Like if I'm going to do this coffee mug with a light in it, I could go to the bookstore and, the bookstore with the coffee shop inside of it. And I can talk to the department manager. I can ask him or her, what do you think about this? How much do you think your customers would pay for it? What kind of things are customers buying? I mean, think about the value in that data, right? There's a ton, you could talk to a distributor. You could talk to people that are experts in that customer, right? You can create a landing page for it and you could create a landing page and do a Facebook ad saying, hey, you know, targeted to coffee lovers, and say, hey, sign up to, you know, to be notified when we launch this product. And you get a whole email list of people that are interested. Well, that's good data. And then you could, once you have that email list, you can engage with that customer and ask them more questions and get more information about what they would want to see. So you want to ask a lot of people. At least 30 people is a good start. And then understand your customer avatar and ask the right people. So don't ask vegetarians about a beef product, right? I'm not going to ask people about my coffee mug product that don't drink coffee. You know, I'm not going to ask kids about that. That's going to be the wrong audience, right? In method 2, we want to try and purchase products that are as similar as possible without giving away your idea. Instead of testing the fur-lined sink, for example, we might want to test the fur-lined wine glass. Gross. We want to split test the price point. So, you know, the great thing about this is we can play around with pricing. We can see what's going on. You know, we can see where people are buying the most of that item. In the case of my slicing thing, they're not. I can't give it away. And then know your success parameters. How many items sold per week equals a winning product, right? So what is your success parameters? What are your goals for that product? So make sure that you outline those from the beginning. All right, now, if you have a valid idea and you're like, yes, Amy, I have a valid idea. I know people love it. I know people want to buy it. Awesome. It's time to plan. This is why in my course, I spend a lot of time on business planning, because I really want to help you guys understand what your projections should be, set up your business so that eventually you can exit it, you can scale it, you can grow it. We really want to understand first on the top left, market analysis. Who are our target demographics? What's our total addressable market? Who is the competition? What is our sales potential? Knowing this information will only help us do even better with our launch. Financials. We need to understand, you know, how much are our startup costs? How many people have spent a ton of money on inventory and then they run out of money because they don't realize that advertising is going to be so expensive, or they didn't actually calculate their startup costs, or they paid way too much for their product. I would say at least 80% of my clients fall into this bucket unless they have been through my training. So that's the thing, is just making a few of these tweaks, we can really ensure that people are sourcing products profitably, that they're ready to scale, that they understand their startup costs. And then bottom left, opportunities, distribution. Could you get a distribution partner? You know, could you get this on the shelf in retailers? There's so many things. You don't just have to launch on Amazon. Now, I do recommend launching on Amazon in your own website because it's a really great way to get initial sales data. I mean, look at me. I'm literally redesigning my product right now because of the data that I got back after selling thousands of units on Amazon. And that's going to help me make an even stronger entry into retail. So, but I want you guys to map out your channels. I want you to be thinking wide. So when Amazon shuts you down, or if Amazon shuts you down, they're just a small piece of your equation, okay? And then finally, your long and short-term goals. I want you guys to understand, all right, where do I want my business to be 3 years from now? What am I aiming for? What are my sales goals? What are my channels? What am I working towards? In 10 years, do you want to exit? Do you want to sell it? What is that, you know? Are you prepared to own a business, right? So these are the things that we want to really start working on before we go heavily into sourcing this product and all of that, because then we're going to understand what we need to do. We're going to have a proven path to move forward. So the winning products, right? Winning products, we've gone over this, you know, they are easily scalable. They're highly profitable. You can have one product making you plenty of money every month, that you could definitely replace your income on that. And it's going to have a longer life cycle. So that is just wonderful. Like, I've been selling my product that I invented now for 2 years, and I've only scratched the surface of my sales potential. So I'm so excited about that. So I teach about validation and criteria for ranking your product so that you really understand, like, okay, I understand how to make sure people are going to buy it. And I also understand how I should rank it. Like, which product should I go after? At one point on this whiteboard over here, I had 28 products on my board. How do I pick the ones that I'm moving forward with? That's what we need to understand, because all of us, that when we get into this Amazon private label space, we feel this pressure to like launch 800 products. And it's really important to know how to zero in on those products that are going to be highly profitable for us. So that is why I focus on that. So our two most important criteria are validation, customer demand, and profitable. I want to make sure that this product is profitable for you. That's why we ask how much would people pay for it. That's why we spend some time on sourcing. So you're going to learn all of that in the Concept to Launch course. It's important stuff that can make a difference in whether you run out of money after your first order or whether you are prepared and wildly successful. So the next course that we are going to do in our mini series is going to be about sourcing and sourcing profitably. So how do we find a manufacturer? How do we source a product? How do we, what are some considerations that we need to have? I'm going to talk about that in this next class, which is going to be next week. So get ready for that. And that's it. Up next is sourcing. So you guys, I want to tell you about this Concept to Launch course. Thank you so much for watching today. The Concept to Launch course, you can go to amazingathome.com/C2L course. But what I want to tell you guys is it is so, so, so important for you to know this. I am launching this course. I'm on a mission to reach as many business owners, as many entrepreneurs who want to get into this business and do it profitably as possible. So I'm changing up the way that I launch this course. So when you go to this website, you're going to see a price on this course. Well, next month, or the end of this month of April, I will be launching this course in a way that allows everybody to afford it. Everybody. So if this is something that you are wanting to be involved in, if this is something that you want to be notified, this is information that you need and that you're wanting before you move forward with this business, make sure that scroll all the way to the bottom of that page and fill out my little form that says, hey, like I'm not ready yet, but save my spot. Because I am launching it in a way that is insanely affordable for everyone. And like I said, my goal, I'm on a mission. I'm going to help as many people as possible bring profitable, unique, awesome products to the market.